Every family has a story, but not every family has one like this. We caught up with Jim Mortimer from Charlotte, North Carolina to hear his family story about how Tsar Alexander I put a ring on it.
The story starts in Russia in 1818.
My great-great-great-grandfather, about 4 times removed, was approached in his little village by a representative from the Tsar.
The Tsar was taking a tour of all his lands and was looking for a place to stop and rest. Mortimer's ancestors were Mennonite farmers who had settled in the region, and his family was selected to host the Tsar for a meal.
He was going to come in 30 days, and so everything is a bustle around the village. They re-straighten up the street, they paint all the houses, and a month later, the Tsar comes with 19 carriages in his possession. And he drives through the village, and all the Mennonite children are standing there in their Sunday best clothes with bouquets of flowers, and he stops in front of my relative's house.
According to Mortimer, the Tsar entered the house and was pleased. When offered to sit at the head of the table and be served, Tsar Alexander insisted that the woman of the house, Mortimer's many great-grandmother, sit and join him even though she was just a lowly farmer's wife.
He had enjoyed his meal, and they had a good conversation, and he said, "Are the Mennonites happy in Russia?" And she said, "Oh, yes, you're very kind, and we're very happy." And he said, "Is there any wish that I can grant you?" And she said, "Yes, there is. My wish is that my sons and my sons' sons do not have to go into the Russian military."
For a peasant woman to ask this of the Tsar was no small feat, as the Russian military was a major source of both pride and fear. However, the Mennonites are pacifists, and so to be forced to fight would go against their religious beliefs.
And he said, "I will grant you that wish. And as a token that I will grant it, I'm going to give you this diamond ring." And he gave her a ring. And sure enough, he kept his word. And her sons and her sons' sons did not have to go into the Russian military.
Alexander I kept his promise, but years later, Tsar Alexander II decreed that all Russians, regardless of religion, must fight in the Russian army. At this point, many of the Mennonites fled Russia and emigrated to America. Mortimer's family settled in Kansas, where they can be found to this day. But what happened to the ring?
And we don't know what happened to the ring. It may have been lost, it may have been stolen, it may have been sold. But the story lives on, and it is chronicled in Mennonite history in several periodicals and books.
When Mortimer first told me the story of the ring, I was 6 years old. His family story is my story too, and I am proud to be descended from a woman brave enough to ask the ruler of her country to spare her sons from war. The ring was lost, but the promise was kept. And while there may be no diamond ring on my finger, without this story and the Tsar's promise, I might not be here today. From Clemson University, Sandy Hall, Clemson News Now.